Hello, welcome back. Tactical Tuesday with Johnny Tiger on January 11, 2022. In my hand, as you guys can see, it's a regular hammer. It's not a war hammer. It's not the lightning hammer used by the superhero Thor. It is not any kind of a special hammer. This is a just ordinary claw hammer, about a foot long and weigh, I would say less than a pound. You can buy it at any hardware store. In fact, I would bet most of you do have one or two or three of these somewhere around the house. Now, I realize that I've talked extensively about knives, swords, blades, and sticks, and tactical pens, and all kind of stuff, all kind of goodies. I like weapons. I like self-defense tools. I like weapons that are practical, that you can carry around with you. But I also realize that not everyone shares the same level of comfort as I do when it comes to sticking a knife in your pocket, practicing with it, training with it, learning how to use it so when push comes to shove, you get to take it out and defend yourself with it. Not everyone's comfortable with that, and for that we must be grateful because that means we live in a civilized society. So it is in that spirit, today I'm going to switch gear and talk a little bit about one of the, if not the best self-defense tool. For this is a tool. A hammer is a tool. It was meant to be a tool first. It's too bad some people use it as a weapon and hurt each other, but uh, it is a tool. And this is a tool that is probably the best self-defense tool that you can come across in everyday life. What makes this the best self-defense tool? Well, it is readily accessible. You can buy it anywhere. And like I said, most of you have one or two, multiple one of these at home, or different kind, but basically the same idea. It is perfectly legal to carry on you, provided you have an excuse. Um, if you have it in your car, it's perfectly fine. You say you are using to check the pressure in the tire of your car. You keep it around the house. It's perfectly fine. Everyone has these at home. You keep it on your person. You say, well, not that I promote lying or anything, but you can say I'm on my way to my friend George's house to help him repair something and he can't find my hammer. Or you can say my friend George just gave me back my hammer, so I'm on my way home. Use your imagination. Like I said, I don't promote lying, but I'm just saying there's a lot of legit way for you to carry this on your person, and it's really not that heavy. Right? And this it's small enough to actually stick in a pocket or a belt or a backpack. You have it with you when you go camping. You have it with you in many different situations, even in the office. I bet. So it's readily accessible to everybody. So that is reason number one why it's the best self-defense tool. Reason number two is legality, and we mentioned that already. Reason number three, it is much more durable than any knife, any katana, any sword you can find out there. Don't believe me? Go take any of your knife or sword in your home and take a hammer and start hitting it with the hammer and see what breaks first. I bet you the hammer is going to blast through every knife in your house pretty much every other kind of self-defense tool you have in your house, and the hammer is still going to be in one piece at the end. Okay, so it is extremely durable. It's made to be durable, right? That's it. You can run you can run over this with a car, and it's still going to be in one piece. So it is extremely durable, making it an ultimate self-defense tool. You never have to worry about it breaking. I see so many people that, by the way, if you hear that weird noise, that's Aslan messing around with the cabinet under the kitchen sink. Um, I hear many people say, "Oh, I want to buy a $200 knife. I want to buy a $400 knife. I want to buy an $800 knife for self-defense." I'm like, why? And they say, well, because it's made of this steel, that steel, and it's almost indestructible. I said, well, if your whole thing is you want something to be indestructible, get yourself a hammer. Then it's going to be like $20 and better than that $800 knife. In fact, if you get into a fight with someone who knows how to use this versus someone who's armed with an $800 knife, most likely the person with the hammer is going to win in the end, uh, just based on weight, reach, versatility, and all that stuff. Now, that brings us to the main point of today's video, finally. Um, you have to know how to use this, right? And this is why I'm here, showing you guys this. Because most people immediately in their head know this can be used for self-defense. This hammer can be used for self-defense. That is no, that is not rocket science. You hold something that is metal, that is kind of heavy, and you immediately know I can hit someone with it for self-defense. But there's a lot more to it. Reason number one is if you go about it the way how most people would, when they don't know what they're doing with a hammer, that they will hold it up over their shoulder or above their head or over the other shoulder like this because it makes them feel powerful. If they swing, it will be powerful. But the problem with this tactic is like any stick or blunt weapon defense, you're only effective if you hit the person with the end of the head of the hammer. Which means if I swing and my opponents know a little bit about fighting, they just jump in and put their hand on my wrist or on my hand, suddenly I'm not effective with this hammer anymore. Okay, that's the first problem with cocking it, raising it high like this, over the shoulder, because it's obvious. Anyone can see this coming. Okay? They either jump in when you swing and get their hand on your hand, most likely that's going to jolt the hammer right out of your grip, or they back away and let you overswing, and before you recover, they come in and wrestle the hammer from you. And this is one of the biggest drawbacks of using a hammer when you don't know what you're doing. So today I'm going to give you guys some of the basics, and hopefully you guys can have a new understanding of the various applications of a hammer in a self-defense situation. First off, when you're using a hammer in a self-defense situation, do not hold it high. Do not cock it over the shoulder. It's not a baseball bat. It's not a sword. It doesn't need that kind of motion. You don't do that when you're hammering nails. You don't need to do that when you're defending yourself. Okay? But before we get to that, before we get to how you should hold it, I want you guys to do this little exercise when you are training, practicing with a hammer. Hold it in the regular hammer grip, so hold it near the handle, the end of the handle, just like you're ready to drive nail into the wall. And then I want you to loosen your grip and slide the hammer down so your hand is right before the head of the hammer. So this is a choked up grip. Okay? This is very important. You need to be able to practice this. Slide handle, slide near the head, slide handle. You can use your body. Slide near the head, slide handle. I'm tapping it on my chest to move the handle through my hand and slide through the head to the head, slide, let the gravity, the handle, slide up to the head. Okay, practice this a few times. So you can do this without dropping. Like I said, it's okay to use your body if you need to. Push the handle against your body to move the handle through your hand. And then when you want to slide your hand close to the head, just loosen up your grip and let gravity do its thing. Okay? When you are very comfortable with this, then you want to start practicing switching hand. Now some people say, well, switching hand is this some fancy knife fighting nonsense? No, because when you are using a hammer, again, like most blunt instrument, the person, if they know what they're doing, is going to try to wrestle this from you. They're going to close the distance so you can't swing. So the thing you need to be able to do is if the person does slide past your defense, they come in and try to grab the hammer. If your hammer is out like this, if you're holding it near the handle, they'll grab the head, and you're not going to win this contest. And you don't have enough leverage, especially if they're punching you and kicking you at the same time. So at the moment they're coming in, you need to let it slide through your hand so the handle is now tucked behind your hand. So they have very little to grab. Okay? At this point, if they're this close to me and I don't have room to swing, but however, they're unable to grab my hammer because I'm holding near the head. I'm tucking the handle close to my body. Right? They can be as close as they want. I can do this. I can throw a very close hook with the hammer at this distance into the rib cage, into the elbow, into the shoulder. I don't care what I hit. I know my hammer is going to go through whatever it hit. So this is why you need to practice this. Okay? If you only know how to use the hammer when holding on the handle end, you will get this wrestled away from you. But if the moment they come jump in, you let this fall in and you choke up on the handle and hold near the head, this gives you a lot of options and a lot less possibility for them to grab you. Okay? But another thing, the moment they try to reach for your weapon, and you let this, you loosen up your grip and choke up on the handle, pull it to your hip, pull it to your hip. Okay, so normally I'm holding the hammer, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. The moment they jump in, I'm holding this to my hip and holding close to the head of the hammer. Because by holding it close to my hip, I can fire straight from my hip. I don't need a lot of distance. I don't need a lot of swing for this. So switching hand. Once we are good at changing from handle to choking up on close to the head, then it's just a matter of passing the handle into my other hand. My other hand is ready to swing. And then if I need to pass it back, I slide it through, pass the handle to the other hand, slide it through, pass the handle to the other hand. So I'm not passing the handle from one hand to the other because anytime you pass like this, there's a moment where you're fumbling, when one hand has the open for the other hand to secure the grip. And that is a bad time. The person can rush you and take this. Okay? But if I hold close to the head, there's very little for them to grab. I just whip the handle into my other hand. I'm ready to attack. Okay? I let this drop, slide my hand through, whip the handle into the other hand. I'm ready to attack. There's no opening in there whatsoever. Okay? I can even do this over my back, behind my back, right? I do this behind my back, right? So nice and slow, holding the hammer regularly, let it slide, drop, and head. It, it, the head is going to make sure that it doesn't fall to the floor if you don't open your grip all the way. Okay, so hammer, slide, choking up, slap the handle into the other hand, ready to attack. Let it slide, choking up, pass behind the back. I'm ready to attack. Okay, there's a lot of options you can do with this if you master this little motion of let it slide and choking up on the hammer, let it slide and choking up on the hammer. Make sure you get comfortable with this, right? Otherwise you'll drop it in a conflict. After we maximize this, after we learn how to slide and switch grip and work with the balance of the hammer, we are going to move on and learn how to change grip because there are three basic grips that you can work with when it comes to a hammer. This is a regular hammer grip. You hold it like a hammer because it is a hammer. The second grip is a tonfa grip. So you are going to hold it like it's a tonfa, like those Japanese fighting sticks thingy. How you do this is remember the slide, choke up on the head, and then flip this. So now the handle, the shaft, come out between my middle finger and ring finger. The claw end of the hammer protrude out from my pinky side of my fist. And the flat part of the hammer is where my thumb is. This is called a tonfa grip. It's almost like I'm handing the hammer to somebody, right? It's almost like I'm like, hey, here's a hammer, right? Like this, right? Why is this important? This is actually my favorite form for a hammer because this is great for both defensive and offensive capability. With the tonfa grip, I can use the handle to attack, and it's very quick. I don't need a lot of energy because it's light. The handle end is always lighter than the head. And I know this is hard enough that if I whip this at someone's wrist or knuckle, it's going to put that hand out of action. I whip this down at the kneecap or the groin or the elbow. Okay, it doesn't take a lot. So I have all this handle to work with and very little energy expenditure. And if I need to turn it into a defensive situation, let's say the person suddenly come out with a knife or something and start swinging, I want to rotate this back so the shaft, the handle, lays along my forearm. Okay? The person swing, whatever they swing at me, I'm going to meet it with this. I can even reinforce it with my other hand. Okay? Again, I trust this is not going to break. If the person is really big, they come in and start swinging, and I don't know how to block them. With this hammer shaft laying along my forearm, all I need to do is meet their hand, meet their elbow with this. Eventually, they're going to hit it and break their own knuckle. Huh? And if I need to go on the offensive, like I said, I can whip the handle at them, at the head, at the groin, at the shoulder, at the elbow, at the hand, at the knee, really fast. This is such beautiful maneuverability for a tool. Or I have the claw end. Remember the claw end of the hammer that is protruding from my pinky side. So my hammer fist will be very effective. uh, So this is the tonfa grip. Again, let's look at this again. We go from hammer grip, loosen up your grip, slide down, slide the head down, spin the hammer. So the handle is now caught between your middle finger and ring finger, claw end, your pinky side, hammer head, the flat end, your thumb side. Okay? Just like you're enveloping the head of the hammer in your fist, like this. And you need to be able to flip the handle forward or rotate it back along your forearm for defensive maneuver. Next, we have the reverse hammer grip. This one should be very obvious, but I'll show you guys how to do this. This is you start from the regular hammer grip. You let the hammer slide down so you choke up on the head. So your hand is now close to the head. From here, you spin it around so your the handle is coming out of your thumb side, and the head of the hammer is your pinky side. This is extremely good for punching. Because now the claw end of the hammer is in front of my knuckle. I can punch with this. I can hammer with this with a hammer fist, and I have this handle to strike with like a short stick. And this is a very versatile form as well. So we have hammer grip, reverse hammer grip, and tonfa grip. Again, hammer grip, you hold it like a regular hammer. Tonfa grip, the shaft protrude forward between your ring finger and middle finger. And reverse hammer grip, you hold the shaft, but now the hammer head is down and the shaft is up. So how should we hold this? Whereabouts should we hold this? Like I already said, you don't want to cock it back over your shoulder or hold it high like some medieval warrior, because this is obvious. Someone is going to just rush you. The best way, and it doesn't matter which form you're using, the hammer grip, the tonfa grip, or the reverse hammer grip, it doesn't matter. Whichever grip, whichever style you hold it, you want this to be held casually in front of your chest, about solar plexus to middle of chest, about this high, a little bit horizontal, like this. Okay, this means I don't need to expand a lot of energy to hold it up, and this gives me a lot of direction to go at. If the person is in range, I can immediately go for the face. I can immediately go for the face. I can go for the neck. I can go for the solar plexus. I can go for the arm. I can go down for the knee, or whip this handle down at the groin. I have a lot of options from here, and it's very quick. When you swing your hammer, never pull back and swing it like a long stick. It's unnecessary. Okay? It's all in the twist of the shoulder, the twist of the hip. Watch when I swing, I'm not swinging wide at all. I'm rotating my arm and whipping it forward. Rotate, whip. Rotate, whip. Rotate, whip. Rotate, whip. Rotate, whip. There's always a circular motion to it to maximize impact without needing to expend a lot of energy or needing a lot of room. The person can be this close to me, right to my chest. If I know how to do a circular whipping motion, I can still make this hammer hurt a lot. One more thing to keep in mind. And this is one of the biggest reasons why it's so important to master your tonfa grip and your reverse hammer grip. Because when you are defending yourself with a hammer, if you swing this, if you swing the head of the hammer at someone's head and it kills them, most likely it will, you will have a hard time explaining that in court, unless the person has a deadly weapon in hand. But if it's just an intruder and you smack them on the head with the head of the hammer, you can't tell the judge, "I didn't know this was going to kill him. This is going to be murder. This is going to be assault with a deadly weapon and murder and a murder charge." Because you hit someone with the head of a hammer, even a child know it's going to kill somebody, right? So this is why in both the tonfa grip and the reverse hammer grip, we're striking with the handle. Right? If I'm hitting them with the handle, I can break every bone in their body, and in court, it makes me look more like, well, hey, I was concerned about their safety. And see, I wasn't even hitting them with the head of the hammer. I could have, but instead, while being a nice, decent person, I hit them with the handle. So it makes the court a little bit more willing to believe that you are the good guy rather than the bad guy. There's obviously way more to how to use a hammer in a fight in a self-defense scenario. But I believe this video should give you guys a decent start on how to get familiar with this tool, which you have in every household, and it's one of the best self-defense tools out there. Thank you for checking out today's Tactical Tuesday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. For now, hammer away.